CJ Miles was obtained by the Memphis Grizzlies at the NBA trade deadline. Photo by Joe Murphy, NBAE via Getty Images. Marc Gasol is now on the Toronto Raptors and Mike Conley is now the lone grit and grind veteran left. Avery Bradley is now in Memphis, along with Jonas Valanciunas, a Toronto 2024 second-round pick, Tyler Dorsey, and Delon Wright. That's not the NBA trade deadline fans were expecting. Grizzlies fans who saw the Gasol trade return were not pleased, to say the least, including me initially. I said on my podcast listed below, that Memphis traded Marc for a drink voucher at the Catwalk on Lamar. How can you blame fans' initial reaction, when the highlight of trading a potential Hall of Famer is some 2024 second-round pick that we won't see for another 5 years? Well, thankfully the story doesn't necessarily have to go that way. Wright is only 26 years old and at 6 feet 5 inches is a very talented point guard out of Utah who Toronto selected 20th in the first round of the 2015 NBA draft. He is the younger brother of former Miami Heat player Delon Wright, so has an NBA bloodline. Wright possesses every tool in his arsenal, and as of recent when given the ticks, he has shown the production. I compare his situation to that of Eric Bledsoe early on in his career as Chris Paul's understudy with the Los Angeles Clippers. In Toronto, Wright, being an on-ball playmaker, was stuck in the understudy role behind potential Hall of Famer and former Grizzlies point guard Kyle Lowry. Lowry is a resident pit bull who doesn't leave much on the plate for any other dog coming behind him, so there goes the reason Wright hasn't surged yet. Hopefully the former changes here in Memphis, though he is kinda in a similar situation. Wright may be older at age 26 but is essentially a redraft prospect. These are the type of moves one has to make and strike gold on with such a lack of assets as Memphis currently. Simply put, if finally given the right audition, unintended, Delon can turn this from an all-time low return into a pretty even swap. He has that much potential. The good thing about the only pick we got out of trading 4 guys, is the second-round pick we got from Toronto is in 2024. By that time, the Raptors could very possibly be heading to the lottery depths again or well in it. This means the second-round pick we got will hopefully be at the top of the second round, meaning we will be still drafting first-round talent but able to pay the prospect second-round money. Those are the small wins that add up in the long run. These are the moves that the Brooklyn Nets have made after mortgaging the future years ago for the corpses of Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. Brooklyn under Sean Marks has turned toilet water into moonshine. The New York Knicks are also doing the same now with Scott Perry and Steve Mills running the show. Memphis now has to mimic the same success if they want to accelerate the rebuild as smoothly as possible. Page 2. Use your arrows to browse. Tyler Dorsey was obtained by the Memphis Grizzlies at the NBA trade deadline. Photo by Matthew Stockman, Getty Images. Shelvin Mack being traded away for Dorsey is a salary swap and potential dig for talent. He is a former 2017 second-round pick and was Dylan Brooks' teammate at Oregon. Dorsey is a combo guard at 6 feet 5 inches 180 pounds. He's a systematic West Coast scorer in every sense of the term I just created while typing this. However, with him still being so young, there is a legit reason to kick the tires on Dorsey. I just wish Memphis at least called the Phoenix Suns to kick tires on a Conley trade and/or Josh Jackson's availability. There are several guys who were drafted highly and have yet to pan out, and some of those teams may be ready to move on from the experiment, but more so the salary of a high draft pick not playing much. The Knicks just gained such an asset in Dennis Smith Jr. and also have one still on the roster in Frank Ntilikina. Mack doesn't make other GM's eyes light up, but his veteran mini-expiring contract could have been just what a team wanted to move on from a once promising experiment. The Knicks also did this at last season's trade deadline to acquire Emmanuel Mudiay, who has had a most improved player-worthy season so far. I personally believe the Grizzlies took the first offer they found for Mack, as opposed to due diligence for the best possible return. It'll be interesting to see how Dorsey pans out, but either way, it was worth a risk. We couldn't expect a good return for Mac anyway, so being able to get a young guard is well worth it for Memphis. Use your arrows to browse.